to that school, and then after so many years, they do a statistic, find out that those schools are not really the way they're supposed to. Say if they say 90, they could equivalent to another school's 80. So that's how it comes out. What we need to do is to smart up our system to make sure that each high school has a system that make the university recognize that they are the same. And I found out that that if you know the system, so many people talk about how they can do this, they can do that. No, in each high school, the principal in charge of the whole operation. So if you have a problem, then you go to the school and tell the teacher or counselor that your mark is not right, and they go another level and go another level. So what happened is your student, your son or your daughter should know their mark better. And if you don't choose the way they're supposed to, you're mixing some mark, you couldn't even get to the university. So what it is, we as a school board trustee, we monitor, we make sure that school is intact. So we need all the parents to tell us that, if their students' patterns of success is like, say, they've always been good, suddenly in grade 12 they dropped so much, and they couldn't get to the professional they want to get, they should tell us. And I have a couple cases that I resolve it. So what I say is, we need to have a strong system, and Young Region is according to the Ministry of Education system to make sure that all the school is intact. But we do need everyone, all the parents and students, to tell us that how can we improve this system and make all the university recognize that, what, we are the same. All the schools are equal. We need to work together. Thank you.
Thank you. Ellen, since you are also seasoned trustee, do you have a reason to believe some of the school did actually inflate the grade to make a better mark?
Well, I wish to give you a solution to fix the problem, but you only give him 1 minute. But if I can fix the problem, I could be Prime Minister today.
So I can give you two minutes if you have solution.
So the problem is, I cannot say the problem. The reality is, in North America, the teacher is giving the mark, the grade to the student. So we don't have standardized tests. Standardized tests for all subjects in Canada. If we have it, we can solve the problem. So how can we fix the problem? I can tell you that in my area, in Markham Ward 4 and Ward 5, this is the real case. I have a class of the student, about 5 or 6 students in one class. They did not agree with the teacher with the marking, and finally they quit the class and go to private school to take the course, the same course, and they got higher mark in the private school. So reality is, yes, different school, they give a different grading, so I agree with that. But on the other hand, because we don't have standardized tests for all subjects, I'm not talking about eqao. Eqao is only math and English. You're talking about the other subject in high school, we don't. So I cannot say I agree with university how they degrade or do grading, but this is reality. We need to look into it. I don't know how to fix the problem, but I'm pretty sure our Ministry of Education has the better grading standardized for the teacher, especially for the non-public education teacher. They should also get the certification. If they give the mark is not aligned with what the student has, they should not be teaching in Ontario. This is what I can say.
Thank you. So we're going to conclude this question. I'm going to move on to another question, which is also mark related, in particular mathematics. Like in elementary school, eqao result, it's approaching the 50% level. So I'm going to find a person who can stand the pressure to start with. So it looks like Sonia probably can stand pressure. Would you like to be the first one to speak on this?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
The question is like, basically the mathematics, eqao result in the grade 3, it's 50% the average. So this is pretty low. What do you think is the issue? Is it a methodology issue, or what is the actual issue happening?
My name is Sonia Babra. I'm running for school trustee for Ward 7 and 8. And to answer Alex's question, I think that's a two-part question. So first of all, let me just say, I'm one of those parents that love math, okay? So, you know, one of the things I really inherently feel is that there needs to be that exposure. Okay, so we need to have math, we need to have STEM, because the only way you're going to know what you like is to have exposure to that. And things like math and STEM, they can definitely help train in terms of looking at a problem analytically. The other part to Alex's question in terms of eqao, standardized testing, I'm going to share my experience as a mother of 3. My daughter, who has gone through the eqao quite a few times, comes home with her hands shaking during that time. There is so much pressure, so much standardized on the standardized test. There needs to be some sort of equilibrium on assessment and how it is transferred in the classrooms. So yes, there's some validation in standardizing those tests, but there also needs to be some sort of methodology in terms of how it's delivered. Because having our students coming home and shaking in order to make sure this test result is improving and showing that result, that's the other thing we need to look at. Thank you.
Okay, so we're going to move on to this one, you know, because I want to emphasize grading is very important. You're going to say something. Oh, you have to leave. Oh, you can start first. So this is a mandatory question. So because we don't have any grading system, you know, EQA is the close we can get. I think it's a measurement that we need. So therefore, I demand all of you to answer this question. From next question on, well, it will be optional. Okay?
Okay. So I just want to answer this question because I have to leave, so that I get my 2 cents in there. So eqao is a problem. Everybody understands that. Standardization test is always a problem. A lot of the times, well, York Region District School Board is one of the high-performing schools. So for us to look at it, we may say that in average we're doing well. However, if you look at the provincial average, it's really low in math. So the ministry has a math strategy, the board has a math strategy, even each quadrant now has a math strategy. Everybody is living and breathing math. I think the eqao numbers, there should be some sort of a correlation between the grade 3 kids who are taking and the same kid tested again in grade 6 to see how the child is doing, versus just like grade 3 in general and grade 6s in general, to have some sort of a meaningful numbers that we could come up with, meaningful results and assessments we could come up with. A lot of the times talking to teachers and math experts, they feel like it could be the language that's the problem. There are certain words the kids are not getting over and over. So they need to really do a deeper dive into eqao to see if the testing and the questions, the language they use, is it really appropriate? Are they changing it? Are the kids getting it, rather than just looking at the numbers at the end?
So we go back to Sabah.
So thank you again. Yeah, I believe grade 3 eqao testing is certainly important, integral, because math is the gateway to creative imagination. We want to make sure we empower our children. That's where I come in and I say we need to make sure we help them. And with mathematics, that's what's going to open up their creative imagination. That's what's going to funnel them and get them to the next level. Is there an issue with it? Is the second part of the question on here? Possibly, because it's been done so many years ago, ladies and gentlemen. Let's think about it. Generations, we've had so much changes. We've evolved from Windows 95, 98, and so on and so forth in technology. While in the same way over here in this testing, I need to say we need to update and upgrade, just the way we do ourselves over here. We need to update and upgrade. So yes, I believe EQA is important. Testing is important. Mathematics is certainly very important. But we need to make sure that we are up to date and apart with the new curriculum, which I don't believe has happened currently speaking. So we need to do this, because that's something I'm very passionate about, and that's what I need. We need to talk to and communicate to the boards about it. Thank you very much. That's your charge.
So Ron?
Yes, thank you. Like when you are in my community, a lot of my friends, when you want your kid to learn music, the parents always start them with piano. Regardless, whatever you do, drum, violin, you always ask to start them with piano. I have to agree that mathematics is the foundation of a lot of the creativity, innovation. You have to reach certain basic brain function in order for you to carry out your idea and carry out your thought so that you can excel yourself. For the Ontario, which lasts like the last 2 years, the mark is showing that half of the student did not pass the pass the standard, over half of it. I think it is one fault of the issue is I think we have to look at the previous provincial government, how do they impose the teaching in terms of discovery math, but they don't have to do a lot of the back to basic, like very basic multiplication table. I have to get my son to grade 3 to grade 4 until he really knows it well. However, is knowing the multiplication table means everything? No. But how the teacher in the school deliver the teaching and how the test reflect on what they teach is the important, which is a gap between, in my opinion, it could be more integrated on how the curriculum is taught to the kid. I think the curriculum is good curriculum. However, how they taught to the kid and how the kid write the test will give us a more accurate information when reflecting those.
So Ron bring up a good point on the discovery math, like intuitive. Jerica, I want to ask you, we have a lot of digital native with the kid. They're into a lot of object-oriented stuff. So how can we improve the mathematics?
Well, first of all, the math, the eqao testing is the same. The testing hasn't gotten harder. It's the same as it always was before. It's the teaching, right, that is changed, and that's why. And I think there's other factors involved. A couple of candidates earlier said it could be a cultural barrier or difference in newcomers not understanding. That could be a barrier. For example, this is a very good example because my daughter had her eqao test when she was in grade 3, and she's pretty good at math, but there's one question she had a test on and she didn't understand, she got it wrong. The test was, it had the word beagle in the question. She didn't know what a beagle was. She did not know, so for her, not knowing what that word meant, she couldn't answer the questions properly. Well, ladies and gentlemen, a beagle is a type of dog. If you didn't know that, you would have a problem answering, right? So that was one of the things that we think maybe it's, again, it's maybe the demographics and the language, yes. So definitely, it needs to be, we need to keep standardized testing because we do need to keep measurement of performance of our education system, whether it's working or not. But at the same time, we need to we have to update it. We have to, because words and usage language in the past is no longer relevant. We need to modernize it so it's relevant to today's generation and the kids. Because kids these days, they don't know Snoopy. Snoopy was popular in the 80s and 90s. It's not Snoopy anymore, right? So that's the things that we need to,
How to connect to the kids.
How to connect to the children and make sure that we're teaching the right tools that's helping them.
Okay.
Teaching one way, testing a different way, there's a disconnect.
Okay. So Francil, the biggest mystery now. So with the 83%, in the French school board, is it the language? French language is better?
Okay. Actually, this is a very good question. And I would like to quote a great mind, my friend David Sherman here, who said earlier, numbers are important. Here are the results in Ontario, and when you talk about maths, whether you learn it in French, in English, in Mandarin, or in Cantonese, 3 plus 4 will always make 6, no, 7, okay?
Which is it decimal or binary? Just kidding.
So when you look at the average for the 60 English language school boards in Ontario, this is true. For the, and I've got the results here, the percentage of grades 3 and 6 students at or above the provincial standards, which are level 3 and 4, the average for the 60 English language school board is 49%. When you look, I'm here to promote the French language education. When you look at the 12 French language school boards in the province, our average is 83%. Same 3 plus 4 equals 7, just trying to make it simple, okay? However, when you look more regionally here in York region, okay, not everything is doom and gloom here in York region. Our Catholic school board, English language, has a 69% result. Our public English language school board has a 74% result, which are the kids making it at the 3 or 4 level, according to the eqao, which is good. So York region is doing well. However, let me brag again for the French school board system, our result is 87%. So, we're doing better. But what is important also when you look at teaching and educating children is you don't want the schools where they go to be just factories where they process kids. Our schools are smaller, 200 to 300 kids. So the contact between, the human contact between the teacher, the principal, the support